we're taking a look at Transformers Energon Jetfire. Now the alternate mode which we see here is that of a futuristic Autobot space shuttle. 4 boosters in the back, 2 main atmospheric wings, a tail fin, and probably the smallest crew quarters on the planet. But in all honesty, this is actually a pretty cool looking alternate mode, and is a nice space shuttle mode, if a little bit on the idealistic side, we would say. In the space shuttle mode, Jetfire should be able to launch his missile, but unfortunately my missile launcher is a tad on the broken side, in the fact that missile just won't click in. But when it does, this little button up here pops up and you can push it down and shoot the missile. Unpegging the missile, or I'm sorry, the gun, you will notice that the actual gun is a satellite, which I find very, very cool. That's a nice weapon mode for a space shuttle. So we'll put the weapon off to the side. And there is one other thing in this mode that is interesting. Like the Omnibot before him, he has this weird opening chest gimmick that sort of works. It's more of a grabbing claw, so when you fly down and hit a Decepticon, it will latch onto them. I'm wondering if this was supposed to be a gimmick where he combines with Prime somehow. I don't really know, and I've tried it with the Prime, and it does not work in the least bit. Jetfire's transformation is actually pretty complex, but neat. To start off with, we'll grab the sides of the figure and just pull them away from the rest of the body. Now I'm guessing you can figure out what these parts are going to be. Take the thrusters, fold them directly down to where the wheels are, and take the wings and fold them flush up against the fuselage. Then take the legs and fold them down, just kind of get them such that the front of the wings are pointed directly to the bottom of the figure, like that. Then reach over to the side and fold up these side panels, I should just say these side bits until they snap into place, and then take these elongated sections, and they are on double hinges, so just fold them up into the leg until you get the Minicon peg just sticking out above where the foot should be. So we'll do that again, collapse that into the back of the hollow part of the leg, and there we go. For the top part of the figure, take the nose cone of the jet, or the spaceship, and fold it down a little bit. That will allow you to free the head and fold that down. Then reach behind the back of the figure and unpeg the 2 halves of the back of the tail section. Then fold that tail section up and in to form the shoulders. And then just start rotating these parts around, fold the wings down, fold the arms down from inside the rear tail, and then open up the section next to the thrusters and flip the thrusters around to form the fists. We do that on both sides, and then take the nose cone and fold it all the way down. In robot mode, Jetfire is very squat. And I can't say that I actually care for his robot mode all that much. There's nothing wrong with it or inherently bad. I just don't like it. And I know a lot of people do. But my main issue has to do with the head. The head is just kind of part of... He reminds me of Quasimodo. He reminds me of a hunchback. He's got no neck. Along with being a hunchback, Jetfire has the distinction of having probably one of the worst faces on a Transformer that I can remember. I mean, this is just not a very good-looking face, and it looks 10 times worse than it does in the show. There's virtually no detailing on the face other than the white paint, and I guess that's clear orange and silver there. It's very, very difficult to tell, simply because there's really no definition to this head of his. Posability-wise, Jetfire is lacking. He does have shoulder movement in and out, and then his arms are on ball joints. However, this white plastic is very, very I don't want to say loose, but slippery is actually the better word for it. So if you put anything too heavy in here, his arm will just hang straight down. Legs are on a ratchet backwards and forwards, in and out, and then ratchets in the knees. And that's about it for posability. He's got no head articulation whatsoever. Now, like all Energon Autobots, Mr. Jetfire here has a pants and a shirts mode. So we're going to start off with the shirt mode. What we'll do is we will partially return him to vehicle mode. So fold up the head, fold up the fists, return the rear of the vehicle mode to the way it was, loosely. We're not going to join up everything. So like that. So there we go. So now we're back to about halfway between his transformations. So what we're going to do is take the entire top half and turn it 180 degrees along the body, and then take the legs and split them in half to form new shoulders. Then what we could do is flip the head down preemptively, and then take the legs and just position them such that the back of the legs are facing forward with the figure. And then just fold up the hands, or fold up these heels to form hands. Now, you can, on some figures, just leave the back like this, but you're going to run into problems if you do. So what I like to do is open the back and then fold it up so that those blue parts that were the shoulders in the robot mode are pointing straight up along with the fuselage here, and then just have it pointing out like that. So there we go. Superlink Jetfire is, yeah, that just doesn't look right. I've got actually, I always find this funny because you always end up with someone forming the pants mode and then the top looking ridiculous, or someone forming the shirt mode and then the pants looking ridiculous. And in all honesty, I think the Ironhide legs work really well for a combined mode, but the Jetfire top is just a little on the busy side, we'll say. There's a lot going on up there. There's nothing wrong with this, it's just a little bit goofy, I think. Next up are the pants mode for Jetfire. Now the pants mode is a little bit easier, but not much. Okay, I'm lying. It is actually a little bit easier. So we're going to start off with the half-transformed point that we got to when we were going to make the shirt mode. First off, what we'll do is return the legs, or the feet, I should say, to their extended mode that we had them in when we had the figure in Space Shuttle form. And this just takes a second, get everything lined up and pegged into place. So unfold the foot. Believe it or not, this is actually the hardest part. And fold out the landing gear. Peg that into place. Get some extra height there. And then what we're going to do is take this section here, rotate it around, unpeg or split the back sections up like this. And you have a couple of options. Now what I like to do is fold it so that the blue part we were talking about earlier is following the fuselage of the spaceship down the back of the figure. And then we could just pose these sections as ever we want. We can fold up those wings, and then I like to point the thrusters straight down. It's just my preference. So there we've got him in pants mode. I'm sorry, this is just ridiculous. It's just silly. Overall, Skyfire is just okay. He's not great, but he's not terrible either. Yeah, he's got a few issues, especially with the lack of anything resembling a good-looking head, but he's not an awful figure. Honestly, I would rather you pick up Ironhide than this guy, but if you've got to get him, he's not going to cost you too much, and he's not terrible. But I still don't care for him.